Ready? Okay. I'd like to call the September 19th meeting of the Chino City Council to order again, actually reconvene after closed session, and I'd like to ask our attorney to make the disclosure.
On the closed session agenda, namely conference with legal counsel, existing litigation. First item, Chino MHC versus City of Chino. Council received a brief update. No further reportable action was taken. And item B, Chino Basin Municipal Water District versus City of Chino. And the City Council received an update from Attorney Gutierrez, and no further reportable action was taken. Thank you. That concludes the report of closed session.
Thank you very much. And if you'd all stand, please, we'll have the flag salute led by Councilman Elrod.
Thank you. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item on the agenda is public communication. We have a request from Pastor Sheldon Boyd to lead us in prayer this evening. So all those that would like to participate, please stand with us.
Let us pray. Father, thank you once again for this opportunity to bring before you the leadership of our great city. Father, we just ask as always that you would provide the wisdom that is necessary to make the decisions that need to be made that will keep our city moving in the right direction. Lord, this is such a wonderful place to live. We're so thankful, Father, for the spirit of volunteerism in this city and Lord, just the positive atmosphere that is in our community. Lord, we just pray that you would continue to guide us, protect us. Lord, we're thankful for all of our first responders, the work that they're doing, our officers, firefighters, paramedics. Lord, just pray your blessing upon this council meeting tonight. And again, we ask for your wisdom in each decision that is made. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Boyd. Okay, we have a couple of written requests to speak, and as you may be aware, we can't take action on anything that's not on the agenda, but you're welcome to address the council. Our first written request to speak is from Gloria Smith. Gloria. Yes. Gloria is a very popular person in our town, as you can tell.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, esteemed council. I am here this evening to present the mayor with a certificate of appreciation from the American Cancer Society. Your generous donation to the Chino Relay for Life helped us to earn over $193,000. Wow. I would also like to thank the City of Chino for their continuous support of our Chino Relay for Life. Without all your support, we wouldn't have the event that we have every year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gloria.
Yeah. Need help?
Poor Gloria.
Thank you, Corey.
It's an amazing event. This year was the first year that I was able to attend the evening ceremony that the memorial for the, what do you call luminarias for the people that had passed, or, you know, remembering those that have suffered from cancer. It was a beautiful ceremony. Gloria does a fantastic job. She's the one that's in charge of putting the big purple ribbons on all the trees and fundraising for the Relay for Life. Anyway, thank you very much, Gloria. Yes, Kevin Cisneros also. In fact, a lot of times Kevin is the MC for some of the events. Bigger than life. The next written request is from Mr. Bob Nigg.
Good evening. Unfortunately, I don't have any certificates to
Aw,
give out. I'm here to talk about fireworks, and most specifically illegal fireworks. And I came before the city council a couple months back. And the reason I'm here tonight is to let the public know that on Monday, September 25th at 7 p.m. at this chamber, the Community Services Commission is going to have their monthly meeting, and fireworks is on the topic. So if there's any citizens in Chino that want to have an opinion on this, that Monday would be a good opportunity to come and speak. Ultimately, the responsibility will come back to the city council, and through my research and everything else, one of the most effective means I think that is available to the city is a social host ordinance where the resident of the property could be held responsible for the conduct of his guest. And numerous other cities in California have passed such an ordinance. And it gives a greater tool to the police because they can't be every place at the same time. So, and one of the fireworks manufacturers have developed an app, a free app where citizens can report via the smartphones the GPS location of where some of those things are going off. And an administrative citation can then be issued without the police actually being required to see the act take place. So that's just one of the many possible solutions to the illegal fireworks. I'm not here to argue against the safe and sane. That's, everybody enjoys that. But there are other things we could be doing to improve the effectiveness of handling illegal fireworks. So again, Monday, 7 p.m. here. Anybody that in the community that wants to speak on that, that's why I came tonight. Thank you.
thank you, Bob. Those are the only two written requests to speak. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council on an item that's not on the agenda? Okay, I see we have some students in the audience, and it's our tradition to have you come up to the lectern and give us your name, school you attend, teacher, and class.
Now they gotta look it up.
I know.
What am I here for?
Hello, my name is Jason Diera, and I'm a terrible student because I can't remember my teacher's name at the moment.
What school?
Please, Your Honor.
I go to Don Lugo,
Okay, do you know what class it is?
government.
A government, okay.
My name is Michelle Ayala, and I attend Don Lugo High School. My teacher is Ms. Carpentier, and I'm in government.
Are you in his class?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jessica Pulver. I go to Don Lugo also. My teacher is Mr. Pope, and I'm here for government.
Okay, welcome.
Hello, my name is Joanna Hernandez. I go to Don Lugo also, and my teacher is Ms. Carpentier, and I'm here for government too.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Isaac Salcido. I go to Don Lugo, and I'm here for Mr. Pope's government class.
Okay, welcome all of you. And congratulations for coming early in the year, because a lot of your fellow students wait until our last council meeting before the school's out. Okay, we'll move on now to our consent calendar. Item number 12 will be pulled and voted on separately. Does any other council members want to have any items pulled? Mr. George?
Yes, I would like to have item 6 and item 9 pulled.
Okay, so 6, 9, and 12 are being pulled. Any other requests to pull? Okay, then a motion would be appropriate. Motion from Councilman George, second from Mayor Pro Tem Howie. And the balance of the consent calendar passes unanimously. Okay, the first item being pulled is item number 6. Chief Comstock, staff report, please.
Good evening, Mayor. I'd like to talk tonight about our Selective Traffic Enforcement Grant. It is a grant that we received from the Office of Traffic Safety. We've been receiving this grant now for approximately 5 years, and this year it is my recommendation to the City Council that we accept this grant in the amount of $130,000 in order to allow the Chino Police Department to conduct traffic enforcement that is specific to motorist violations. With this grant, our goal is to conduct approximately 6 DUI checkpoints, as well as approximately 38 saturated patrols throughout the city. They would be in, they would work in calendar year-wise in cooperation with Distracted Driver Month. And there is also an educational component of this grant, which includes getting out there and explaining to the public the hazards of distracted driving, other events throughout the year through the Office of Traffic Safety, where we would educate the public about the dangers of motoring responsibly. As the police chief, one of the biggest complaints that I get is about motoring safety within the community. And what I would like for people to know is that motoring is a real personal responsibility to all of our residents, and that we all have a responsibility to be a safe driver. This grant would help us not only conduct enforcement, but also conduct much-needed education throughout the city. So that is my recommendation to you this evening, and it's a great grant. We've had great success with it in the past. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
Now, obviously, I didn't have this pulled because there was an issue, because I think this is, a phenomenal grant. And this, the STEP grant, I just wanted to, you to kind of like educate the public on, what it is. And obviously it's not the first one, but what it is and what you do with it. And I think it's a great program, and I just wanted to get it out there.
Thank you, Councilman George. It is a great grant. It is very important for motorists. Sometimes I don't think we've gotten so distracted in our cars. It gives us an opportunity to get out there, not just to conduct enforcement, but also to educate the public and work with students at our high school level. The grant also pays for our travel and our overtime and the educational component. I just think it's a good thing for the city from the enforcement perspective as well as the education perspective.
Okay, thank you.
It's a surprise to see how many people are on cell phones while they're driving.
Yes, it is. Very
Always
distracted.
surprised. Oh, yeah, a lot. Okay, then a motion would be appropriate now. It's been moved by Councilman Elrod, second by Councilman George. And item number 6 passes unanimously. The next item that was requested to be pulled, actually again for information, is item number 9. And our staff report will be from Nick Liguri.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Every year, the city receives funds from the federal government through the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG program. And so tonight, this staff is presenting our Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. We call it a CAPER for short. And we have to do this once a year to show how we're making progress towards the goals that are in our consolidated plan, which is a 5-year plan. So currently we're in the 2015 to 2020 consolidated plan. And so we are reporting on the results of last fiscal year's use of our CDBG funds. So last year, the city received approximately $466,000 in CDBG funds. And we were able to support over 1,500 residents directly through a variety of public service programs. So this is through the Chino Neighborhood Houses Food Pantry program. They served over 701 residents. Chino Valley's YMCA Child Care Program served over 41 children. Family Services Association through the Senior Lunch Program served over 638 seniors. And then House of Ruth served over 70 women. The Human Services Family Counseling Program served 74 residents. Inland Fair Housing Mediation Board served almost 400 residents with their services, and the city also provided grants to 14 seniors to make health and safety improvements to their homes. Now, indirectly, the city was able to serve tens of thousands of residents through code enforcement, economic development, and street light and sidewalk improvements. Over the years, and we are scheduled to do a large round of streetlight and sidewalk improvement repairs this year. We also fund graffiti abatement through that, and so there were over 3,500 instances of graffiti that were able to be abated through the CDBG funds. So these funds are very, very important. We're very nervous earlier this year when the current administration was looking at eliminating the program entirely, because as you can see, that money does a lot of good for the city. So we continue to work through the federal association that we're a part of for housing and community development, try and preserve those funds. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Nick? Gary?
No, just again, I just wanted the public to see this, because this CAPER report is phenomenal. The use of money is fantastic. One thing that when you say current administration was trying to get, to eliminate this, it wasn't this administration. So I just wanted to.
The federal government, yes, the
anyway,
executive
I just
branch.
think it's a great use of it, and I just wanted everybody to be aware of it. So thank you.
Okay. Motion, please. Motion from Mayor Potem Howie, second from Councilman Elrod. Item passes unanimously. Excuse me. Item number 12 was pulled for separate action due to Councilman Elrod voting no the last time. Earl, would you like a staff report on the item?
Pardon me?
Do you want a staff report?
No, I don't know. I
Okay.
just want to confirm what I voted on the first
Okay.
time.
Item number 12 is the adoption of an ordinance which amended procurement provisions. Excuse me. Okay. Excuse me.
I did you on the back, but then you probably have me thrown in jail.
I would. Harassment. Okay, this is a normal consent item, so if there's a motion, please. Motion from Mayor Potem Howie.
What does this say? Hide?
Second from Councilman George. The item passes 4 yes, 1 no, the no being Mr. Elrod. Okay, before we go on to new business, I had talked to Gloria McLeod over the weekend, and she advised me that she had an announcement she'd like to make to the council, but she had a prior meeting, so she'd probably be late and miss public communication. So I'd like to open back up public communication and allow Mrs. McLeod to come to the lectern. Thank
you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here to invite you to Chaffey College's 18th annual report to the community. The luncheon will be on Tuesday, October the 24th from 11:30 to 1:30 at Chaffey College Chino Community Center, right down here in the preserve. Our goal is not only to showcase the great work that Chaffey does, like being recognized as one of the top 10 colleges in the nation. Only 2 of California out of 1,200 community colleges across the nation. But it's also to highlight all of our students and the alumni and all the good works that they do and the contributions they do to the communities that we all serve. On behalf of the governing board, I hope you will join us, and as colleagues, I truly appreciate your support in the past, in the future, and currently. Thank you.
Thank
you,
you,
I will
Gloria.
hand you some invitations of what I'm doing tonight.
And I'd just like to congratulate you again on the Aspen Award. That was fantastic, because it is hard to get.
Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda under new business is item number 13. Oh, thank goodness the top was on it. Professional services agreement, Ayala Park Fields 5 and 6 site improvements. Staff report this evening will be by our Assistant City Manager, Public Works Director, Mr. Jose Aleri.
For sports activities. Included in this year's budget are funds for the maintenance and upgrades for Fields 5 and 6 of Ayala Park. Now, the first phase of these modifications for Fields 5 and 6 were awarded by the City Council on August 15th. This construction is underway and it's scheduled to be completed by next February. The second phase of work of improvements will concentrate on hardscape and fencing improvements to improve the site for accessibility and make the facility more usable for players and spectators. Staff properly advertised the request for proposals locally and on Planet Bids as well for the design services needed for this next phase of work. On August 11th, the city received 5 proposals. After a thorough evaluation, Hirsch and Associates of Anaheim, California was ranked the highest. Once the plans are approved by the city, staff will then bid out the construction phase of this work. Therefore, it's staff's recommendation the City Council approve a professional services agreement in the amount of $124,000 with this firm. That concludes my report on this item, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. Are there any questions of staff? Okay, are there any members of the public that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, seeing none, then a motion would be appropriate, please. It's been moved by Councilman Elrod, second by Councilman George, and the item passes unanimously. Item number 14, award of contract water quality feasibility study. Our staff report will once again be provided by Mr. O'Leary.
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. Our water facilities master plan was last updated in 2003-2004 back then. The master plan is utilized by staff to document our existing facilities, water lines, and planning for future facilities as the city continues to grow. The water quality feasibility study is considered in the initial phase or one of the initial phases of the master plan update effort. Since 03-04, water quality from our wells has changed as well as the treatment requirements by the state. As an example, if you recall the recent projects we awarded to treat for 123 TCP. Now, this feasibility study will examine an array of emerging contaminants, all of the city's water supply facilities, and provide a matrix of alternatives for future consideration or for further consideration. The results of the facility study will be included in the updated master plan and assist staff in determining new facilities, type of treatment facilities, and address all water quality requirements. Now, for this study, staff released an RFP, and on July 26th, we received 5 proposals. Staff evaluated the proposals based on the understanding of the work to be performed, the quality of the professional service staff, and the experience on similar work. Hazen and Sawyer of Palm Desert, California was deemed the most responsive and responsible firm for this study. Therefore, it's staff's recommendation the City Council approve a professional services agreement with this firm in the amount of $125,200. This concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions on this item as well. In addition, there is a representative from this firm in the audience, along with Mr. Dave Crosley, who will be undertaking this task as well. Thank you.
I do have a question, Jose, and that is, with the 123 TCP, we knew a ruling was going to come down to change the maximum level. But it was kind of a surprise when they did what they did, and they didn't give us very much time to implement the treatment necessary. Are there any other substances that you know of that are being considered right now that the limits might change?
Not that we know of at this point, but the future has a lot to bring to us on that issue. Yeah, we knew the 123 was coming down. We were hoping for more time to be compliant with it, but as you know, that we weren't granted that additional time. This feasibility study is going to look at a lot of contaminants and maybe perhaps at things that we staff are not aware of. These experts do have that ability. Once we're well in tune as to the type of treatment, where the facilities are going to go, how it's going to be, operated, that's going to give us more time for the planning of these things that we know could be coming. And hopefully we won't have to come to you again with an emergency ordinance again asking for an award of a contract. So we are trying to avoid that, and that's why we want to get this part of it done so we can learn more.
Okay, excellent. Yes, Tom.
Yeah, Jose, well, with the additional treatment that we're going to be doing on a number of our wells, would it pick up other contaminants, not only just the 123 TC, but would the additional treatment that we're going to be doing it's going to be a lot of treatment that's going to happen. Will it pick up other contaminants like Eunice is saying it might come along to us from that standpoint?
That one I'm going to have to defer to Mr. Crosley oh, yes.
I see him nodding his head.
Where are you looking at?
Okay, so we're going to be doing a lot of treatment in the future.
Right.
Currently. So hopefully the new other contaminants that come along, we're going to be catching those also with our additional treatment.
Yeah, and realize we have our existing treatment plant that concentrates on nitrates and others. And now with the granular treatment plant that we have coming on board, that'll treat, as Mr. Crosby said, additional contaminants as well. Will it treat all in the future? We certainly don't know at this point, but there are others.
Well, it's one disadvantage of living in the south end of a tipped basin, and that is everything ends up migrating down to us. So where some other cities in the northernmost part of the valley don't suffer the contaminants that we do. Unfortunately, we do have a lot. Along with this, I'm assuming we should probably anticipate increased costs as well.
Yes, it will, because these will have to be regenerated. The carbon won't last forever, and at some point, we're going to be having to maintain the system and keep that going.
Will this
replace
study
those.
also look at like the treatment plant on Benson Avenue as far as its expected life? What's left of it, and if it's going to have to be replaced or whatever? Does the study look at the whole picture? I'll make Dave get up. Right? Get up here, Dave.
Good evening.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. It's not very often I get a chance to address you, so thank you for the opportunity. And for the benefit of the audience who may not know me, my name is Dave Crosley. I'm the water manager for the city of Chino. The question is, will the life expectancy of the Benson facility be examined? And the answer to that question is simply yes. All of the existing water treatment facilities and water supply facilities will be the focus of the water quality feasibility study.
Okay, as well as the individual wells, and if there's going to be a need for an individual well head treatment?
We will be supplying all of the water quality data for every well to the consultant, so that information will be part of the evaluation.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dave.
Sure.
Yes.
A good yes. No, not a good yes, an expensive yes. I know. Okay, if there are no more questions of staff, then I would entertain a motion. Oh, come on up, Stubby.
Sorry, I just have one quick question. Does this cover shared water sources like Monte Vista 33? Yes, it does. Okay, thank you.
Another big yes.
Okay. There's a motion from Councilman George, a second from Councilman Elrod, and this item passes unanimously. Okay, next item on the agenda is the mayor and council individual reports. First, I'd like to give one last reminder that the annual Chino Day at the LA County Fair is happening tomorrow at the Pomona Fairplex, located 1101 West McKinley Avenue in Pomona. All Chino residents who attend will be able to enjoy fun activities, including the Community Day Parade and high school marching band competition. Admission for Chino residents is only $8 with the presentation of a coupon, which can be obtained by visiting www.lacountyfair.com/buy-tickets and entering the promo code CHINO20. For more information, please call 909-334-3258. Also, I want everyone to be aware that the Inland Empire Utilities Agency and Three Valleys Municipal Water District is conducting a free drip kit workshop at the Chino Basin Water Conservation District, located at 5494 San Bernardino Street in Montclair. This event is this Saturday from 9 to 11. All those in attendance will learn how to reduce 80% of their water use by simply converting their planter beds from sprays to drip irrigation. Plus, those who are eligible will receive a free spray-to-drip retrofit kit for planter beds at a total value of $199. However, you must meet certain requirements, including having an existing automated irrigation system, 3 pre-project photos of the irrigation system, a copy of your water bill, $50 refundable deposit in order to receive a kit, the deposit can be cash or money order, be capable of installing the drip system within 60 days, conduct a post-project site inspection, and be pre-registered to attend the workshop. For more information, please call Inland Empire Utilities Agency at 909-993-1952.
How about if we just say we know somebody that used to work there?
I know somebody that used to work there too.
Will that work?
Somebody that's now retired. Okay, and then events that I attended this past 2 weeks. September 6th was the Omnitrans Board of Directors and San Bernardino County Transportation Authority Board of Directors. On Monday, September 11th, the fire department held a beautiful 9/11 memorial tribute at Station 66. Very well done. The firemen that did the presentation, they were just dressed so sharp, and it was a very moving memorial. Thank you very much for doing that. On Tuesday, September 12th, Mayor Pro Tem Howie and I met with representatives from Protect Chino. Our city manager, Matt Ballantyne, city attorney, Fred Galante, were also there. The meeting was to talk about a possible revision to Measure M, which was originally approved by the voters to prevent increased density. There were actually more questions than answers at the meeting, which were provided to Mr. Galante, and he's going to provide feedback back. I don't think that's going to be the last of our meetings. We'll probably have many more. In fact, City Manager Ballantyne and I spoke briefly about it, and probably the best thing for us to do is to have an actual workshop that involves the entire City Council and the public, where we discuss all the pros and cons about Measure M, what can be done, what can't be done, all the legalities, and that is just a very complicated issue. In fact, there were more questions than answers, I believe. So I will be getting with City Manager Ballantyne about that. Tom and I will talk about it and get that scheduled as soon as possible. On Thursday, September 4th, I attended the Watermaster Appropriative Pool, and then Saturday, September 16th, was the Kiwanis Classic Car Choice, and Donna Borden won the car. So that was, Donna Borden won this year, which was really exciting.
She already bought 2 of them all the time she's been there.
Well, probably, yeah, that's true. But it is a fun event, and Kiwanis just does an amazing job for our community. Mayor Pro Tem Howie.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few items. On this September 7th, I attended the Water Facilities Authority Tech meeting, and a lot of things going on. A lot of things going on then, and also on 9/11, a number of us attended at the fire station the 9/11 memorial, which up in Chino Hills, and the fire department always does a nice job of remembering that horrible event. And can't believe it's been 16 years since that. So, you know, you look at events like that, and it's those kind of things that you'll never forget. You know, if you're old enough to remember the day John F. Kennedy was shot, you'll always remember what happened that day. Or a day like 9/11 it'll always be a remembrance. Unfortunately, not a good one, but it's great. It's not great, but it's good that we're not forgetting that particular event. And so that event was attended by all of us. Then I attended a fundraiser for Mayor Yaloa at around the corner from me at Ray Moore's house. And
did you walk?
Let me get back to you on that, okay?
Seriously?
It was a warm, muggy day. A long walk would have been uncomfortable. Let's put it that way.
2 blocks.
Yeah, well, those are long blocks. That's a long 2 blocks. Anyway, so needless to say, we had a great time. And Ray Moore's is a great host. Puts on quite a show. No question about that. And so that was a good event. And then last week for a couple of days, I attended with a couple other council members the annual League of Cities in Sacramento. And always an interesting conference because you get about 1,500 to 1,700 elected officials in the state all attending from the 482 cities that California makes up.
A lot of hot air. A lot of hot air.
I wasn't going to say a lot of hot air, but now that you've mentioned it, yes, it was.
Don't mention names.
Don't mention names, no. But you know, it's interesting because you go there because you want to learn more about what's happening in the state. You want to learn more about what other cities are doing. So to see if are we doing those kind of things? Does it make sense for us? And just some of the sessions, and I know the other council members will talk about it, but I like the one about who controls California water. That was an interesting, it was a short thing, but you don't realize there's 2,400 water agencies in California. And that's 52% of how the water is delivered. So you can imagine 2,400 different water agencies that are all competing for the water. They all have all their desires. They all have costs. They're all trying to make it work for the public. And now all these different things about how we have to clean and treat the water. It's a remarkable world, water in California. So that was a good session. Protecting your professional reputation online. That was interesting. Protecting your professional, so when people try to attack you online, should you just basically go right back after them? They said no. Just stay calm and just, people like to vent because people online, they're not talking to you face to face. They basically are being able to put their opinion, but they're not really, it's so much easier just to type out an opinion. But it was interesting that their ideas was, stay calm, don't engage, just let things play out. And so that was another one. Driverless cars. What's the future of driverless cars? That was is it a better future? That was an interesting conversation. To most of the people in the room that were probably close to my age, we're not the most excited about driverless cars, but that'll be a real interesting to see how California gets involved with driverless cars. And last but not least, is cities losing local control? Is the state taking more of our local control away from our in the cities? And I
can answer that.
And I think everybody out of almost every council member or mayor that was at that conference basically were shaking their heads yes. So that's another ongoing fight that we have as far as local control. So that was it, pretty much in a nutshell. And I know a couple council members will want to talk about other things too, but thank you. That was it.
Councilman Elrod.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I had an interesting meeting with Mr. Dalma about the street situation here, and I learned a lot more than I thought I knew about streets and the HOAs and who control them and how we police them. Basically, I didn't realize that HOAs have a different kind of parking citation situations and things like that. I thought everybody in Chino would be treated the same, so I'd sort of like to address that in the future because I think everybody should have the same right to, if somebody's parking in your driveway, to call the cops and get them out. So I'd like to address that later. I went to your event, and that was nice to see the old faces there. And Ray Moore's never changes. He's always got something different. This year it was a pool, bar, lighting, TV, you name it, he had it going. So it was nice.
Grapes.
But yeah, he's a good guy, and it was a good event, very good event. Glad I went there.
I think everybody had fun.
It was a lot of fun. And that concludes my report.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I have a question for the chief. Chief, I believe the legislature passed something about marijuana they're going to treat like alcohol.
Oh, sorry, Councilman Ord, I'm not familiar with that legislature.
Okay, I read it somewhere where next year that if you pull somebody over, you're going to treat marijuana just like it would be alcohol, like a DUI.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe you could check into it. But.
No, it is. I am familiar with that legislation. It's driving under the influence of drugs, and we will be. There's a study underway, I believe, in San Diego right now to determine the amount of marijuana that must be in somebody's system, detectable, for them to be considered impaired to meet those legal limits. So yes, we're presently working on that with the want to say with the DA, the California State District Attorney's Office, as well as the Office of Traffic Safety, in order for us to move forward with proper driving while impaired. They call it DUID, driving under the influence of drugs.
What kind of test would that be?
They are experimenting with different saliva samples and different field reagent testing, but the most reliable test for that moving forward for us will probably be after the arrest would be in the form of blood withdrawal.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. I was just curious.
Okay, thank you, Councilman.
Before we go to our next report, I'd also like to note that Montclair Councilman John Dutray walked in. Hi, John. Did you want to address us on anything? Just came by to say hello.
Hey.
He was at Central Bosco for Taco Tuesday.
Once a Basco, always a Basco.
Well, welcome, John. Councilman George.
Oh, thank you. Let's see, I think I'll start with that. I also attended the Mayor Ulloa's event, and it was an excellent event, and you're right, Ray doesn't change. About the question you asked earlier, when we got ready to leave, I asked the Howies if they needed a ride home, and they said, no, we drove, so. That was unique. I also attended, of course, the 9/11 Memorial Tribute, and again, you triggered something when you said what you were doing on that particular day, and I was in a meeting with Bob Pyle that day, so that'll always be there too. So, an old friend. Let's see, and that evening or that afternoon, attended the Chino Cultural Foundation meeting, and introduced Councilman Rodriguez, who's now the liaison for that group. On the 12th, I chaired the RDA meeting, and what's according to Rob, that might be maybe the next to the last or something a meeting, because it's going to go to the county now in a short period of time. Then on the 13th, as was mentioned, attended the League of California Cities annual conference as a first timer, and I thought it was. I got to wear my first timer little badge there and my voting thing a little bit. Yeah, but it kept falling off, so I just had to wave it in the air. But I thought I've gone to a lot of conferences, and some of the seminars and presentations are horrible. And the ones that I attended, I thought were excellent. Maybe one wasn't, but they were most of them were excellent. Attended the Economic Development and Enhanced Infrastructure Finance EIFD meeting that the city of Laverne is involved with, I think, and also with Sacramento. And it's a great partnership between the county and the city. Love to figure out a way if we have anything in the offing that might meet with that, because there's a lot of money pouring into Laverne because of this. Great presentation. Greg Devereaux was part of that panel, and he was excellent. Let's see, tools to boost housing and economic development. A great fireworks seminar, and some of the information that I picked. Is Bob Dink still here? No, it's too bad. Some of the information that I picked up at this seminar because it was pretty full, and there are a lot of cities just really pounded on some of the issues that we've been having, and very interesting. And I think there's a meeting tomorrow that I will attend and tell you about what some of the other cities are doing. So it should be, again, that worked really well. Then worked at the exhibit hall for a while, and that was very interesting also. A lot of old friends and people that I used to work with out there. Let's see, again, and the one that Tom was talking about, protecting your professional reputation online. And one of the things they talked about, they kept harping on, I had never heard the term before, was deflecting internet trolls. Oh, so that's the first time I had heard internet trolls before, so that was really interesting, and I like not responding, but just how to deflect them. Driverless vehicles, that was interesting too. I don't know, by the time they probably get here, I'll probably need a driverless vehicle. And Chief, how do you do a DUI on a driverless vehicle? How do you? Oh, okay.
Good answer.
Oh, my God.
Another interesting meeting on managing CalPERS. And I think everybody that walked out, just basically they took out of that meeting, good luck, because that's all that was said. It was hard. I digress. It was hard to get into the meeting because and this is probably the one I was talking about, because the guy representing CalPERS looked like Tiny Tim. And I was thinking tiptoe through the tulips the entire time that guy was up there talking. It was hard to get anything out of it.
No, who's Tiny Tim?
Oh, that's right. Anybody know who Tiny Tim? You guys know who Tiny Tim is?
Just the older.
Your students, do you know?
No.
Tiptoe through the. You know that?
You're not allowed to sing.
That's the end of your report, right?
You've done that.
Should be. And then I was able, because I was the voting member, I was able to vote at the closing session and in the general session. Even the closing session was interesting. And of course, we were up there also to help with SB 649, and I guess we weren't much help because that thing just sailed through. And you talk about losing local control. That's a bad one.
It's going to be a mess.
Yeah, that one's going to be tight. Maybe the governor will do something. We'll find out. The next morning after coming back, went to coffee with Kurt. This one was in Montclair. This one was educational, not nearly the fireworks of the last one, but an excellent meeting anyway. And then the next to the last thing I've got, Earl, is that Saturday was was able to celebrate with the Portuguese community the Festival de Folclore Português na California. Okay, and that was an all-day festival, a great luncheon. I love the Portuguese food anyway. It's just a great luncheon. And then I represented the city, not really saying I was representing the city at the when all the dancers came and all they had the main part of the event, and I even spoke Portuguese to the. And I told them when I started to talk, I said, well, okay, I'm going to try this, and I said, I'm either welcoming you to the city or telling you to get out of town, one of the two. But I guess I did all right because at least they were polite and said I did all right. So it was a very fun day and very, very educational. And the Portuguese consul who was there wanted me to remind the council, which I don't need to, that what a great community we have in the Portuguese community in Chino. And I told them that we do know that and really love and respect the group. Then let's see. Yesterday, went to the Chamber of Commerce meeting and the Planning Commission meeting that evening, where they were able to say goodbye to Harvey Luth and wish him well. That's the end of my report.
You sure you didn't mow the lawn, walk the dog? My wife thinks she has a driverless car when I drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand.
Where are you going?
Councilman Rodriguez.
Okay, thank you. This past week was very interesting and educational for me. I also attended the League of California City Conferences as the first-time council member, and there was over 1,800 attendees there, and the workshops were tremendous. The three that stood out to me, the number one was the idea of how to use social media to communicate with the city and also with the populace in the city. Another one was law enforcement and cybersecurity, which was very interesting. All the different techniques that are out there for technology, for police security and health in the city. So it's a very, very important workshop that I enjoyed. And then the third one that stood out was the one dealing with how to manage diversity, change, and no discrimination in the workplace. And that's important in that we are in a century where many changes are happening. So it was good to hear some of the positive things that they mentioned in there. At this time, I really want to commend the staff for really doing a tremendous job on the social media that we have with the city. I think every time I look at our website, it just gets better and better. And they're using that to a very high level of collaboration with the residents of the city. Lastly, well, there's quite a few other things, but I'll go quickly. I attended the BIA Builders and Industry Association meeting at Chafee last week. And what was remarkable is that they gave us information concerning ROP programs for high schools and how important it is to give students opportunities for choices. Having been in a past career a guidance counselor at Don Lugo, it's so important to be able to offer students at the high school level, even junior high, the opportunity for choices, either for blue collar, white collar, or vocational occupations. We're gonna need shoemakers and welders and all this. So the program there at the BIA Chafee Conference Summit was very, very enlightening. And I truly support ROP programs. Finally, I also attended last Saturday in Montclair, the coffee with Supervisor Kurt Hagman. And he did discuss technology and also the future of infrastructure and travel within the county. So it's very, very important. And I think he did mention, if I may be corrected if I'm wrong, the idea of having Wi-Fi throughout not only Chino, but perhaps throughout the whole county. And they're working on this in providing this as a service. When we think about Wi-Fi, we should stop talking about it and just really start doing the research and understanding the cost, whether it's doable or not doable. We're living in the 21st century. Let's actually look into it. I think it would be very helpful and informative for us to continue to work with Kurt in that issue. Also, on a whole, I wanted to, finally, I want to commend and thank the Chino Police Department. On a personal note, the last 3 weeks, my residents and a neighbor's residents, we've had parcels taken from our porches. And I contacted Chief Comstock, and she directed me to a detective, and they caught the thieves, the porch thieves, I guess you may call them. Yeah.
Porch pirates.
Yeah, the porch pirates or whatever. Yeah, it's remarkable how they did that with technology. At my home, I will say the Ring doorbell does work. So I did have a clipping of the person that had taken my package and then in my home. So any porch pirates that are going to try to don't think twice because I have cameras. So they were able to also see the neighbors' items that were stolen. And they did not retrieve my items, but they caught the porch pirates, which was excellent. And within days, I mean, it's just like 3 or 4 days, and the technology that the Chino Police uses is tremendous. I want to thank them personally for a great job that they did. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
City
you.
Manager Ballantyne.
I have no report, Mayor.
Mr. Galante.
I likewise have no report. Thank you, Mayor.
Chief.
Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez, for your kind comments.
Okay.
And who's here from the fire department?
I have no report this evening.
No report. Okay. With that, then, we will adjourn to our next meeting that will be held on October 3rd at 7 o'clock, 6:30 if necessary for closed session. And I also ask our audience and our viewing audience to keep those in mind that have suffered now down in Mexico due to the horrible earthquake that hit today. I guess there's over 100 so far that have died, as well as the different countries and the United States for the horrible hurricanes that are causing such havoc for so many, many people. It's just truly a disaster. So with that, we will see you on October 3rd.